Good morning, my beautiful collective. I hope you're having a wonderful day. What's up, collective? You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Whew. Let's talk money. Let's talk money, guys and gals. What's up? What's up? A lot of you could be coming into an inheritance or more stability in your life, and it could be a major change up. But it's very imperative that you keep your wits about you when things get switched up. I was doing Cancer's reading last night, right during the solar eclipse. I was wanting to watch it, stream it, but I got sidetracked. As Kitty goes running crazy through the house. It's very imperative when you have any major life change that you don't make any major decisions during that time, right? When something changes up, sometimes you need to sit your ass down and kind of take stock of what you got before you make any major life changes, any major life decisions, okay? A lot of us are seeing a lot of this shit played out in the public arena. And some of you are probably sensing the red flags, but you should. Like, while you making major decisions, maybe you need to sit your ass down and get a little more educated before you start doing anything, right? 88 here. That's a beautiful number. That's a beautiful number. Inheritance coming in here. There's 8 of Pentacles in reverse. For a lot of you, this could be money that you didn't work for, right? It's just kind of a nice little gift. It's a trade up, right? An inheritance. Some of y'all, maybe it's a settlement. Some of y'all, maybe a divorce settlement or a settlement from a death. King of Swords in reverse. It's very imperative that you listen to the smart people around you. Okay, King of Swords energy, you could think of like accountant, lawyer, anyone that you would hire. And if you're going through a divorce or even an inheritance, you're usually going to be dealing with an attorney, right? Settling an estate or settling a divorce. Some of y'all need to pay attention to what maybe an attorney or an accountant is saying, okay? Very important. Especially when it comes to anything that you get, a nice little, gift from the universe, that Ace of Pentacles that comes that you didn't have to work for, right? It's just kind of like, oh, here's a wonderful gift, okay? How you going to use it? Very imperative that you listen to the smart people around you who know, okay? You can question this, and a lot of you, if you don't trust the one you're dealing with, then go find you another one. But you need to be listening to the smart people. Don't negate the red flags. Don't think someone is telling you what to do with what you got. It's like helpful advice for a lot of you. Pay attention to the advice you got to protect what the fuck you're given. Especially if this has come from a situation, either a divorce or a death, something that wasn't a very happy event, right? It's not like it's a positive windfall. It's, there was some heartbreak in here. There was some loss. And, there's some residual pain that probably needs to be worked through, right? There's some work that needs to be done. Maybe just getting over the loss of something. Thank you, Spirit. Before you jump into something major, right? Yes, it's a positive. But in order to get the positive, there was a fucking negative. Right? Very imperative you pay attention and keep your guard up and get educated. This is educated. This is educated, okay? This is being educated with what the hell you get. Because whatever you gain from something negative, you can turn it into a positive. Sometimes you just need to learn to sit your ass down, okay? Because it is going to be freedom for a lot. It's going to be breathing room. It's going to be better opportunities out there. But it can also create this type energy as well. That's 3 8s we've seen up here. 888 could mean something. Conclusions ending. If y'all have been waiting for something, things are going to start wrapping up. Some of y'all, the checks are going to be printed, right? Checks in the mail. These two cards lets us know that, you know, whatever the result is, that can be positive, right? It come from a negative energy. It come from a sad space. It come from a space that wasn't very good, right? So for a lot, this healing needs to take place just over the event. Just over the event. You need to process that first. Jax, sweetie, you are just like a child. I swear, y'all, she waits. She'll lay there for 2 hours and not move, and as soon as that camera comes on, she'd make all kinds of noise and scratching and licking herself. Sweet Jesus. Whew. Yeah. So, when you get a blessing from something that was very negative, this is when you need to address the main issue first. Get over any grief or sadness. You don't want to make any major decisions when you're in this energy right here, okay? And some of y'all, if the lawyer's giving you some advice or an accountant is giving you some advice, listen. If you don't trust this person, go find you another one. Because some of y'all may be needing to get an accountant or an attorney to help you set up some shit. Right? When it comes to settlements, they can be of any size, right? And I'm by no means a lawyer or a financial person, you all. This is just some heads-up advice. From when you gain from something that wasn't a very good energy, that wasn't a very good, you know, reason. Because there is still healing that needs to take place. There's healing that needs to take place. From a loss, right? You lose something, you might get some financial gain, but it doesn't really solve the problem. It's there. It's there, right? Triple Eights here. 8 of Swords in reverse, 8 of Wands, and the 8 of Pentacles. This is the blessings you didn't work for coming in, right? Listening, being educated, paying some attention. What good's a blessing that comes in that, you know, was kind of a gift if you don't pay attention and use it wisely? It can free you or it can entrap you. Either way you look at it. This is going to be why it's very important you listen, right? You should be the wounded warrior because this is that energy. You're coming from some shit. There might have been a positive from it, but this is what you're coming from. So you're going to have your guard up. You're going to be a little wounded, as you should. People can look at the situations and think, oh, wow, look, yeah, they got that. But what did they get? What did they have to lose to gain? Right? Sometimes there is a loss involved in order to gain. It's not, you know, it's not like something that you want. You know what I mean? It might have come as a result, but it's not something that you would sit there and want. So be careful what you wish for, right? Oh, I want money, but at what cost? Do the healing before you make any major decisions. You got to heal the main, like the main issue first. Any windfall, anything like that comes in that's a positive from it, just set that shit aside for a little bit because you really got to address the main issue. Okay? You really got to address the main issue. Because this is going to be a gift, y'all. It could be little, it could be big. Right? This is just whenever you get a blessing that you didn't have to work for, educate yourself. Pay attention. For a lot of you, it's listening to smart people. They usually have your best interest at heart. Accountant, lawyer, right? With it being in the reverse there, if you don't trust the person, go find you a fuck another one, okay? Just, you need to get some smart, good advice. And for some of you, depending upon the size, you could have multiple people wanting to come in there. So you're going to be vetting even those type energies, which is why it's important you just sit still for a little bit. Because this is that card that's going to determine everything, right? It could either be a curse or it could be a blessing. So yeah, it should be a little guarded because you got to do some healing first. So maybe you set up an appointment with a therapist, and then you get the accountant and any lawyers that you need, right? You got to solve the main issue, especially before you make any major life decisions. Yeah, especially when it comes to spending part of that gift you received that you didn't really work for. You see what I mean? No major decisions. What is it? Usually 6 months to a year after a major life event. You got to get kind of stuck into it. Yeah, this is that Five of Wands. This is that there's a lot of shit at play here, right? That conflict card. For some of you, you're going to have people pissed off you got something, even though they couldn't go through the loss that you did to get it, right? You want to avoid this. You want to avoid people that want to bring this conflict in. So for a lot of you, it's playing shut mouth with what the hell you got. People don't need to know your business. Especially when it comes to the money. A lot of variables here, but this can be good and this can be positive. It's all going to depend upon your mindset. Ace of Wands in reverse. Not taking any action. Sometimes it's best to just sit still for a minute. Get your bearings. Figure out what the hell you got. Figure out what the hell is up. You got to release any of those energies from the heartbreak, because it's probably coming from a situation that isn't good. Even a divorce, right? I don't care if you hated the person. It's still an ending that you're going to have to fucking deal with, right? Get over that. Don't just start going out and buying a bunch of shit to fill that empty void. Fill that empty void with positive, loving, kind energy, right? Fill that void the positive way, not by just rushing out and buying shit. Not just rushing out and buying shit. Not just rushing out property, clothes, jewelry, anything like that. Don't fill the void by just shopping. And definitely don't sign any contracts. Don't sign any contracts. You need to sit your ass down and heal the pain, and then talk to the people that you pay to help bring you stability in your life. No movement. You got to grieve. Some of y'all got to grieve. And yes, even when it comes to separations, divorces, some of y'all, it's a loss. You got to allow the grief to come out. You got to allow the sadness, the remorse, the endings to take place. And the healing. That's why it's okay to just sit your ass down. Because you're really not going to be in a decent frame of mind to make a decision. Yeah, you do. You have the whole world in your hand. You could sit there and go on a major ass shopping spree if you wanted to, but what's the fucking point? Just sit your ass still for a minute. Yeah, okay. It was in the upright, wasn't it? Now we're in the reverse. You got to do the work in order to move on. Especially when it's kind of a blessing that you didn't have to work for. So this is something that's going to come in out of the blue. Even if it comes to a lottery win, guys and gals, you got to process that. You can go online and see where people just start spend, and then they end up broke. You got to sit your ass down and kind of process what the hell's going on. Get the people involved that you need to get. And some of y'all, you could be hiring accountants to help you manage your shit, investment portfolios, different things like that. Some of y'all could definitely be a major upgrade from what you've ever thought you would be dealing with. You got to trust the smart people. That Hangman, you got to trust the smart people. And it's like no action until you process everything that needs to be processed. And for some of you, yeah, getting a therapist involved to kind of help you process everything. You could be processing, you could be processing the loss, but then you're also going to be processing this like positive energy, right? So you could have a lot of mixed emotions and a lot of mixed feelings. So it's going to be very imperative that you trust somebody. And a lot of this is you want third-party people involved that have no investment in what you do. You know what I mean? A therapist, they don't care what you do. They're there to help listen and guide you and give you some... you really can't say advice because most of them don't. They'll give you learning tools. They'll give you coping mechanisms. They will help tell you, oh yeah, it looks like you're doing good. You're understanding this. Therapists don't give you the answers. They give you coping mechanisms. They give you little tips and tricks that could help, right? Therapists don't give you the answers. They give you the coping tools. They give you literature on what can help you process what is a positive way to do it, what is a negative way to do it. And some of y'all need to, when you start switching up and things change, you have a lot of emotions there. And a therapist will tell you it was smart to process, because they're going to determine what you need to process first, or help you work on, dealing with both at one point in time. But most are going to say no major life decisions after a major life event. You need to process things first. The positive and the negative. Because you never want to make decisions based solely on your emotions. Either when you're sad or when you're very happy. You want to make solid financial decisions when you're neutral. You can kind of determine, yeah, this would be a positive, but you're not just like, oh, I want that car right now, I need it. Oh, I want that house, I need it, right? Your decisions are based from a solid ground, like temperance energy. And for some of you, you're gonna need some professionals to help you navigate that. So you do know how to kind of sit your ass down and process what you need to process. And some of y'all going to be dealing with accountants. Some of y'all going to be dealing with investment portfolios. Things you never thought you'd be looking into. But how you get it isn't always a positive, right? People be envious of something and not realizing what you had to lose to get it. Some of y'all could have been a loved one. Knight of Swords, Ace of Swords, the Tower, Judgment, Six of Pentacles, and the Ten. Yeah, some people don't know what you had to go through to get it. You could have got some very harsh, quick message. Something happened somewhere that wasn't good. There's kind of balance coming in, right? But that Ten of Pentacles is in reverse. I don't feel this is an energy of, it's not someone's going to die around you or anything like that. It's not that type of energy. Some of you are waiting for things to wrap up. Some of you are waiting for decisions to be made. We had the Judgment there, right? The Judgment in the Tower, waiting for a decision to be made. Judgment being called on maybe a situation that wasn't very good. Some of y'all could be waiting to hear back news. You're just waiting. This is that okay, balance was being brought in, but it wasn't a loss. This could even be divorce type energy, right? Yes, it might have been a very tumultuous divorce. It might have been hell, but you know what? It's still an ending. You still got to process that energy. You still got to process it. It's a loss. It is a loss. I don't care if you hated the person when it ended. You gotta deal through those emotions. You gotta deal through those emotions. And it's kind of, you gotta look at it so that way you don't look at that money as being cursed. You don't look at that money as being a negative, right? When the universe wants to come in and kind of soften the blow in a situation, you want your thought on that to be positive. Your viewpoint on money is just as important as your energy and everything else, right? Money is money. It's just a ways to get things, right? But you can use it for the good. You can use it for the bad. Money is just money. It's how it's being used. And a lot of it is your thought on it, right? Especially when it comes to money you didn't work for. So it's going to be very easy to spend that because you didn't have to work for it. A little budgeting trick is, look, when you're doing something, when you want to buy something, ask yourself, how many hours did you have to work to buy that? Was it worth an 8-hour day with 2 hours overtime to purchase that? Is it worth 2 weeks of salary to buy it? Do I really need it that bad? And that could help you budget things out. Because even when you get a windfall, guys and gals, you still got to be on a budget. Everyone thinks, oh, I want to be a millionaire. I'd buy everything. You can only spend millions if you're making millions, right? If you ain't making money, you can't go on them big-ass shopping sprees to replenish it, or you just going to spend it all up. You got to be able to make it. Some of y'all could be looking at situations where you could get some residual income off of the interest alone. You could get enough where the interest alone could give you a nice living. Maybe not an extravagant one, but it'd be a nice living, a nice supplement too. And you could have that for the rest of your life. That's when the money people come in to show you the best way to invest it. Decision making time, right? There's going to be decisions to be made. There's truth. That Ace of Swords is also endings. The cord has been severed. The tie has been cut. It's over with. So here's kind of the aftermath. Judgment being called in a situation that wasn't great. Balance is being brought, but it does come at a loss. It is what it is, right? Some of you working on your businesses, when you start seeing an uptick in growth, when things start going good and you're leveling up, right? How do you deal with that? I get that Five of Wands in reverse. As others get blessed financially, it can create some havoc in people's lives. Some people don't like that shit. They're jealous. But it's just money, right? Especially when it's that Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Money that someone didn't necessarily work for. It was a gift. So on top of having to deal with the emotions, having to deal with the endings, you still got to have your guard up against people wanting to start some conflict. Okay? That's when for a lot of you, you need a therapist. You're going to need a therapist, an accountant, and probably an attorney. Okay? Those are going to be the three people that you might have on speed dial. Because, you know, a good attorney and a good accountant is going to tell you you don't want to make any major decisions right now. You should probably see a therapist. And you need to process. If they don't say it in those terms, they're going to say maybe you need to process what just happened before you start making any moves. I'd say if someone didn't offer that up or tell you that, I'd probably go to someone else, because that's just what a smart person would say. You got to remove your emotions from this before you really make any decisions. Let's just put it over here safe, and then we can figure out I'll work on a plan for you when you're ready to make those decisions. So that could be something to keep in mind. If they don't bring up the personal aspect of that, the healing around it, that, you know, because they're going to know how that affects people. A good attorney and a good accountant are going to understand, okay, you got this windfall, you got this gift from this very toxic situation. This is how best you should go about dealing with it. But you got to deal with the endings. Yeah, for some of you, if they don't bring up that personal aspect of that, I wouldn't use them. If they're going to come up with all these ideas as soon as you walk in the door, don't. Even a smart accountant would be, just stick it here. It's a safe place. It's not tied up in anything. And once you decide, and you get all the conflict that is around you, all the internals, then we can work on figuring out the best route to invest in. And yes, they're going to be all up in your business to help you decide what kind of investments you need to make. That sounds like a joke. A lawyer, an accountant, and a therapist walk into a bar. And I am not a lawyer, an accountant, or a therapist. But this reading wanted to come out because some of you, you know, things are wrapping up and there's going to be abundance being brought in. And some of you, you know, it's not going to be for a good reason. Others are going to be looking at it. Oh, you got all this money, but what did you lose to get it, right? Money isn't good or evil. It's people's intentions behind it. It is what it is, right? Your thought on it matters just as much as anything else. It's an energy like anything else. You can use it for positive or negative, right? You want to avoid this, because any gift that comes that you don't have to work for, people can want to show their ass. You want to avoid as much of this. So you go ghost. You get the help that you need, okay? And a good therapist ain't gonna be cheap, y'all. Some y'all could be paying a couple $100 an hour to talk to somebody, but it's gonna be money well spent to get you on your path. Accountant and attorneys, they're not cheap, right? Some areas you don't want to cheap the fuck out on. They're worth the money you pay for. Their advice is worth what they charge. There's sadness though. You know, this is sometimes that money you get, the gifts you get that you don't work for, they come at a cost. And a lot of people don't see that. They just see, you know, what a payout might be. Right? But, you know, the money don't bring back the lost loved one. The money don't heal that broken heart. It doesn't mend that relationship. It doesn't erase all the time spent in something that was beautiful that went to shit. Whew. You gotta remove the negatives around it. It's a gift from the universe. You got it for a reason, okay? It's not cursed. It is what it is. But you got to process the emotions. So, that is my advice with this reading. Don't get stuck. If some of you are in this situation currently and you're trying to figure out what to do, you know, a therapist, an accountant, and a lawyer. No major moves. I'm pretty sure a good accountant would say that. You know, let's just put it here. It's not tied up in anything. And, you know, you take the time you need. Do the healing. And if they don't suggest a therapist or not making any major moves within 6 months to a year, I'd probably find somebody else, because they would understand that. That's just someone that's probably going to take your money. If you do go to someone, you know, don't tie anything up real quick. Wait, let it set in a nice nest egg somewhere till you're able to make the decisions. Because with that, you're going to be making some decisions. How are you going to invest it? What do you want to do with that? How are you going to use that? You shouldn't be rushing into anything. A therapist, an accountant, and a lawyer. And y'all, you got to have a good rapport with them. I'm going to tell you that. I don't care how great a therapist might be, if you don't feel like you can talk freely to them, then you know what? Go find somebody else, especially when it's on your dime. Same with an accountant, same with an attorney. If you don't have a good rapport with them, you don't have to deal with them, right? When you're paying for it, you want someone that you feel is going to be on your level, okay? There's nothing wrong with that either. Because you ain't going to get from it if you don't feel comfortable in the space that you're going to heal, or the people that's going to be handling what you got. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be around people that you personally feel the energy is good. You feel they have a good heart. It's a little more than just, you know, the transaction that it is. Some therapists, make sure they don't try to push their religion on you. You're going to figure out, you're going to know within the first meeting if this is a person that you like. Same with an accountant. No one should, especially when you first get it, try to suck you into putting that money up somewhere where you can't get it. Put it somewhere where it's not tied up until you decide how you want to look at it. Which is, if they're doing their job, that's what they're going to do first. Figure out how you want to use this. What are you looking for? Long-term gain? Do you want to use some of it? You want to try to get residual income off of it? What are you looking at to do? There should be a hell of a lot of questions asked before they start wanting to tie it up and shit. And a lawyer, you know, lawyer is a lawyer. Find somebody that you trust, find somebody that you like, and that maybe, you know, you don't get a negative energy off of. So, collective, we're putting that out there because some of y'all need that advice. Tarot isn't all about just love and fluff. Sometimes it's advice that comes from a negative place but can be very useful. And some of you, maybe you're going to be in a situation that you're not quite familiar with. And maybe, you're going to need that guidance. If it's yours, it's yours. If it's not, thanks for watching. You can ring my bell, ring my bell, ring-a-ling-a-ling. But you gotta heal the pain first, okay? Even if it is a shitty divorce, there's still some residual there. You're gonna take some of the money and get you some good therapy, and then everything else will follow suit. Peace, love, and light, collective. Peace, love, and light.